Ladies and gentlemen, it's a Saturday night. You know what that means. It's time to tag in with your favorite tag team, the Hot Tag Team, the Hot Tag Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We love you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Share it with your friends. If you're watching on Twitch, hit that follow button. You know we love you guys' support. We love to hear you in chat. If you got opinions, share them in chat, please. I don't know what just happened in my brain there. If you have an opinion, share it in chat, please. If I like it, I will read it on stream. Just because you comment doesn't mean I'm going to read it. But if I really think it's a good point, whether I agree with you or not, if it's a good point, I'll bring it up. So, with that being said, Teddy, how we doing, my man?
I'm chilling. I'm living. And in 3 weeks, I'm going to Wrestlemania, baby.
He's going.
Now, I'm going. And I don't know. I'm excited as all hell. I'm excited as all hell, even though I feel lied to. And disappointed in some things. But it is what it is. I'm excited. I'm having a grand old time. So it's funny. So many matches have been announced, and yet the two that I'm most looking forward to have not been announced. Even though now we know, as of Friday, we know most likely we're going to get us a triple threat match. And let's just roll off with that because, Jake, let me read exactly what your text message was because you spoke to the soul exactly about how we were all feeling.
Okay, go for it.
What did you say?
I say a lot of things. I don't exactly remember what you're talking about. Sorry.
Okay, here we go.
I don't understand. Google, no one was fucking really talking to you. Fucking thing.
That was the worst controversial double finish I've ever seen. Holy shit. And random ref that was chilling the whole match randomly decides to hop in that bullshit. I feel a little insulted there.
Yes.
Insulted isn't the word. It's just like, all right, so wait, was the ref there the whole match? Because I didn't see the ref the whole match.
So, it's so... You talked about my text. I'm going to give you my take now since you asked me a question. So, I saw him chilling on the outside as soon as Drew McIntyre and all of them were coming in. He was just on the barricade in front of the LED board. That's why he stood out to me, because he was blocking a part of the LED board. I was like, why is there another ref on the outside? And I was like, why is there another ref on the outside? And, like, I honestly forgot about it for a long time. I really did. And then, all of a sudden, at the end of this, what was honestly a good match, I enjoyed it. I thought everybody got their licks in. I thought everybody looked good. It was what it needed to be. It came down argument between Sheamus and Drew. And then, for some reason, at the end of this match, another referee comes in and decides to call a pinfall, like Jessica Carr can no longer handle the situation, like he's supposed to be there in general, and now maybe, referees make mistakes. I was like, I get it, but that looks horrible. Like, unless you're the NFL, that type of stuff doesn't really happen. And yeah, I did just take a shot at the NFL. But anyway, that type of stuff doesn't really happen. So I was like, why would we believe that two referees called a pinfall on two people at the same time? What I would have believed more was if Jessica Carr was calling the pin on Sheamus or one of them, and then looked over and realized that the other one had also been in a cover, and then talked to the other official, like, what did you see? Like, did they cover them at the same time? And the other official could have been like, yeah, they covered them at the exact same time while you were counting. And then that would have been, like, more legit. To me, a referee randomly inserting himself in a match, because he was not involved in the match at all until the very end. Why would he insert himself when you know what I mean? Like, it just... I felt insulted. I was like, really? This has literally never happened before, and that looks so dumb. Like, all of a sudden, he just sprints in the ring and starts counting the pinfall. And I'm like, buddy, you just came out of nowhere. You had no enforcement on this match whatsoever, and now you're going to call a pinfall out of nowhere? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. The only time we ever see refs enter a match and call a pinfall is if another ref is dead. Not actually dead, but, like, out. I was pissed. I was not happy. I thought it was bullshit.
It was the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Hey, one. All right, I didn't even see the ref, so you had seen him. All I know is a ref slides in the ring, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I was like, one, you don't have the jurisdiction to call that pinfall. You're not the ref assigned to the damn match. You're not. Dude, say you were there to help contain the match. You're the outside ref. You don't call the pin.
Right.
You don't call the pin. So in real life, that pin would not hold up, and Drew McIntyre would be the winner. 2, 3. I would have found it more believable. I like what you said. I think that's a good idea, but I also would have just found it like, all right, well, why didn't just could have just had just a car look and go 1 and count with both hands. We wouldn't be the first time we seen it. She just counts and it's like we got a double pin. 2 just doesn't make sense. Like Drew, Sheamus, they're just gonna both go for the cover. No, so you're gonna be like, no, you're gonna try to throw the other dude out the ring and go for the pin. If this was WWE, we wouldn't both try to pin the guy. If we were playing a video game, we wouldn't both try to pin the guy, would we?
Right.
No, I'd try to throw your ass out the ring. 2, Sheamus didn't even hit Xavier Woods. His head completely missed his foot. I couldn't get over that. I was just like, yeah, completely missed. Xavier Woods was just like, I'm over for this match. I'm not winning. Who was that? And so it was just so stupid. It was just an insult to our intelligence. And it's just like, again, you fabricate the rules. That's one thing I have an issue about WWE. They only follow the rules when it suits them. They completely rewrite history. They'll say this person is the best superstar of all time and then change it in the history books 10 years down the line. Like, actually, we really like this guy. We're going to say this is the best.
Right.
It's like, you know what? It's whatever suits them at the time. And I'm sick of it. I want consistency. God damn it. I want consistency.
Yeah, it's.
I feel like I'm in a minority. Because you know what? People cheered for this in the arena. They cheered for this and they started chanting triple threat. I want a singles match, but if everybody wants a triple threat, I mean, I actually am happy the way I feel about this because you know what? It only can go uphill. My expectations won't be too high. My expectations would have been very high with Drew, with a singles match between Drew and Gunther. And to be honest with you, I don't think it could have delivered because Drew's not in the field of delivering to high expectations.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Sheamus is an all-around better wrestler than Drew.
I agree, but we all know it's not always about who's the better wrestler. It's who's more entertaining, who's more over. And that's typically Drew McIntyre because he has a better personality. He's easier to root for. People like Sheamus because he's been around for a long time and he's funny and stuff like that. But, Drew's easier to root for. But, to your point, you were talking about people were excited and people were cheering for it. I take that with a grain of salt because people were cheering for the triple threat. That finish was bullshit. And I feel like WWE is going to get crossed up in the fact that, it got over anyway. I don't want them to miss out on the fact that that was bullshit and that was horrible, the way they did it. I have been saying it for months on months that I want the triple threat between Drew, Sheamus, and Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. I think it would put the title over the moon, and I think that's what it needs. But this was dumb. That being said, how they fixed it is nice. I don't know what they're going to do next week. It was announced last night that they are going to do Drew and Sheamus one-on-one. Winner faces Gunther. So somehow there's going to be a screwy finish. I think we're still getting this triple threat. I really do. Could there be a straight-up winner? There could be. But I think this is going to be a no contest. Somehow.
We've seen it before with these two.
Double count out.
Going to happen. Double count out, or Drew and Sheamus hit each other with their finishing move as Drew hits the Claymore, Sheamus hits the kick, and they're both out cold. A Glasgow kiss, but Sheamus's head is too hard, so it knocks them both out. It's one of those three damn things that's gonna happen, something like that.
Listen, I'm excited for the triple threat. I hear you on the singles, and I think getting one-on-one Drew and Gunther would be great. To your point, I don't think Drew and Gunther does as well as at Mania. Right. wouldn't do as well at Mania as a triple threat with Sheamus would. If you want to give me Drew and Gunther at Clash at the Castle next year, singles match, all in for that. But I think at WrestleMania, to put this title over and put it where it needs to be, I think this triple threat needs to happen.
I'll tell you what, and when I say won't deliver, I mean because the standards are so high for this, because Gunther's just been putting on 5-star after 5-star after 5-star, even to his NXT days. This man just delivers 5-star quality matches.
Yeah.
And he just, at the very least, they're 4.75. And I don't know if it's going to get to there with these two, but it could, because they how intense they are in physicality. But to your point, I also thought about it as this. You have, in the U.S. title match, an Austin Theory versus a John Cena. A Gunther versus Sheamus doesn't hold up. The only thing that it does is you're most likely guaranteed to have a better match, but it doesn't hold up to star power. Now you have Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew. That feels like it's on playing field with the United States Championship match.
Well, hey, do you want to just get into the United States Championship situation and John Cena returning on Monday? Because I think that's a nice segue.
Not yet. Let's get there, because let's finish off SmackDown, because there's not much going on, and there's something big that happened on SmackDown. Then we'll end up with let's cover what happened next on SmackDown. Then go to the main event, and then we'll get into Raw, because I wanted to touch base on this. So after that, I was blown away by how much, like I said, is the biggest piece of dog shit I've ever seen in my life. And then Rey Mysterio got announced for the Hall of Fame, and I was like, at this point, I wanted to talk to you about this, really, because you had made a comment. I said to Zach too. I was like, listen, I'm all for Rey Mysterio going into the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows I wanted Batista going this year. I was disappointed, but I wasn't like, oh, what the hell. I was more like, oh man, I was really hoping it was Batista, but no, I wasn't mad. Like Rey, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then I was also like, this is really random. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like no one's really excited for it. I feel like everybody's just like, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, duh, but all right, I guess. Yeah, like I feel like no one's like, I gotta go watch the Hall of Fame ceremony. Right? I can't wait to see Rey pop up. I don't know, at the Hall of Fame. Like, I just find it very random, and like I feel like if he went away for like a year, we'd be like, yeah, Rey. But like he's still wrestling. We see him every week, and it's like he's also like in a feud with his son. So no lie, shake. When I seen it, I was like, my jaw dropped. I was like.
I was shocked.
Now, I'm going to give my last point, and then I'm going to give it to you. You had said earlier, you're like, oh, this is really dumb, because, like, Rey should be a headliner on his own, not saying that he should headline over Batista, but, like, he should be And so I was talking to Zach, and, like, everybody knows I'm a Batista fan. Reason I watched wrestling. I would argue that Rey Mysterio should headline over Batista if they were in the same class. And this is why. Do I think Rey was ever as popular as Batista at his highest point? No. But Rey has done way more for the business. He's been around a lot longer. He's been around since '89 consistently. He's the number one luchador wrestler of all time. At least he's the most popular luchador wrestler of all time. I can't say what goes on in Mexico. This man has done more for the business. This guy still comes out and he flies. He's been a constant. He's been a constant in the WWE. Rey's star power, he's been about where he is his whole life. He looks like he did when he was wrestling when he was younger. He lost his step, but he's still so good you don't even know. He's always been popular. He's a household name. And this is coming from the guy who, like I said, Batista's my end-all, be-all. I was rooting. Batista's the it for me. Batista was, I feel he was a star. I feel him and John Cena were the second coming of coming out of the Attitude Era. At one point, they were as big as Rock and Austin at one point, both of them. And so, but Rey's been around longer. I think he honestly deserves it more. But like I heard Rick say this a week ago. He said Dave has the best 10-year run in WWE history. He said the man was only there for 10 years. He goes, no one did it better. He goes, in 10 years, this man was on top the whole time. He's like he's been in a Hall of Fame faction. He's a Hall of Fame singles run. What more do you? He's like this dude. He's like he was the hottest thing since sliced bread at the time when he first got hot. So, but at the end of the day, like I said, I think Batista would have made more sense for an LA WrestleMania. But if they both were to go in, I would argue that Ray should headline over Batista.
I got a lot of thoughts on this. Weird. I think in the weirdest way possible, this is almost disrespectful to Rey Mysterio. Because you're right. I don't think he's going to get the flowers he deserves. Of course he will. Because he is everything that you just said. Greatest luchador of all time. Even one of the best to ever do it in the WWE. Strip away the luchador title. He is one of the greats in WWE history. You genuinely cannot tell the history of WWE without Rey Mysterio. You just can't do it. He has been
no Daniel Bryan without him. You have no small wrestler championship without him.
He paved the way for the underdog. He was the guy that proved people under 6 foot could do it. And he was one of my heroes growing up. And I absolutely love Rey Mysterio to death. I would have rather him retire, give it a few years, him show up on a show, making an appearance every now and again, maybe just when they're in his area, whatever. And then finally, a few years later, they're like, headlining is Rey Mysterio. Everyone would be so excited because we hadn't seen Rey, to your point, because we hadn't seen Rey in such a long time. It's different now. Think about it like, I'm trying to think. Undertaker, I think, is the best example. He retired a little less than a year before he was inducted. He had been away. He'd been doing stuff and we'd seen him, but he wasn't in the ring. We weren't seeing him. And then they announced it was going to be his Hall of Fame. And everybody was like, yes, it's the dead man, blah, blah, blah. Everyone was so excited. And then on Friday, everyone's like, oh, it's Rey Mysterio? I mean, I'm not disappointed, but that's weird because he's still wrestling. And it's not like he's coming back like Goldberg did, right? Goldberg got inducted, came back and wrestled decent amount, but it's not like that. Ray's on TV every week. He's involved in a major storyline right now. This is very, very weird. And I think also to your point, to be respectful to Batista, if you're having Ray, I don't think Batista should be in this year. I don't. I think he is the class of superstar. And I think Ric Flair, best 10-year run ever. I think that's spot on. He deserves his own class as well. And I think putting these two together, I get it. They're really close friends. I do really understand that. But, it seems to me like both of those guys deserve to run the stage on their own, not be a part of it with one or the other. And I don't think either of them would be upset about it. But me, as a fan of both of them, not to the degree of you of Batista, but Ray is number 2 for me, all time. I love Rey Mysterio so much. It's weird and it seems very forced. Is I think what I said to you when I text. It's very forced and very sudden. In every major sport, it's like 5 years after you retire, you have to wait before you're eligible. So it's like I'm not saying WWE has to follow that mold, but I think that's good because now you have time to build and let it marinate on your career, and then all of a sudden they start talking about you, and everyone has this la 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 feeling about you. We're still kind of in the moment with Ray. We're not ready to look back yet. I feel like
it's strange. So Zach said, "Are you?" Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. Yeah.
Zach said, you know what I think is going on? He goes, I think they're going to do the same thing what they did with Ric Flair, Dominic will wrestle him for his career. I mean, it's the only logical reason. There's 2 logical reasons. They're doing that, or Dave canceled on them and was like, hey, I can't do it. And it was like, possible. And I also don't think Dave would cancel on them. So I don't
stuff happens, but yeah.
Yes. It's strange. And you got people, like you said, there's people who are just like, Ray, he's still wrestling. And then there was people like me who were like, this was supposed to be Batista's here. What happened? I was so disappointed. I turned wrestling off and I went to go play Hogwarts Legacy. I was like, I'm done.
I think the exact reaction when people, the first inductee, Rey Mysterio, what? Yeah, Ray!
I mean,
What? Yeah, Ray! Why? I'm really happy, but why? Why now?
Shake, I shit you not. They said Rey Mysterio, and I was like,
I was stunned.
I didn't even finish watching the promo. I was like, I'm fucking. I was like after that shit finish on SmackDown, I was like, at least this will make me feel better. You know what I did after that? I wouldn't finish my goddamn KFC, and then I was disappointed in that too. And I was like, God damn, my life's right now.
It doesn't get much lower than that. You don't get your Hall of Fame induction, and the dinner sucks.
And it was a shitty finish. It was like, I didn't get the match I wanted either. And I was like, is this what she felt like?
That's how I felt when Seth lost. That's how I felt when Becky lost. That's how I felt when Brock lost. That's how I felt when Rey and Dominic lost. I just got kicked in the nuts over and over again WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah, that was rough. But yeah, and then all right. So after that, nothing really happened. There was a you could just hit the same link, it'll come back in. After that, we had a Judgment Day versus
Legado
del Fantasma match, and I was like, all right. I said, this could have been something if they really built this up. It was just a random throwaway match. Like, you could have built these factions up, and it could have been something.
Well, I think it had been teetering for a few weeks. The tension between Santos and Dominic had been building. And, I have been a fan of Legado since they were in NXT. So when I saw them running out, I was like, oh, 6-man tag, let's go! And Legado lost, and that makes sense. But I thought they looked really good. I'm excited to continue to watch them. I'm a big Santos Escobar fan. I think he is really good on the mic. He does a great job of conveying emotion. And again, there's 3 guys. That's another push. That was the trios match right there. That was the second time we've seen where trios can really, really work.
Yeah. What do you think we're going to get at Mania? Are we going to get a singles match between Dom and Rey, or are we going to get a tag between Dom and Priest versus Rey and Santos Escobar?
I hope with Rey going in the Hall of Fame that it is a singles match and...
it feels it should be.
Yes.
It should be.
Because I think this should be Rey's last match, and I think it should be a singles match, and I think it should be one-on-one with his son, and I think
it should be a banger, too. Like, they should practice the hell out of this match to really show Dom coming off strong here.
Well, I think they should Shawn Michaels spent a month working on Logan Paul's match with Roman Reigns.
I sent that video to you, right?
I've seen it a bunch of places, but yeah. If they can do that, imagine what a father and son who have been working together and doing stuff together since Dominic was a very, very small child. And, it wasn't to the same degree, but Dominic had to do in-ring work with Eddie and Rey back when he was a kid. And it started back then, and that relationship has just developed. And I think these two are going to give one hell of a match at WrestleMania, and I hope Dominic doesn't let me down, because I know Rey won't.
Yeah. I'm excited for this match. I really am.
Me too.
So let's roll into the segment. Jey Uso comes out and says he didn't want to have to do it, but he had to. He didn't want to, but he had to, and he quoted his brother and calls Sammy selfish. That's going to tie in later down the line. The fact that Jey said he didn't want to, but he had to, it's going to tie in down the line. And then we get Cody Rhodes comes out, which is cool. We see Cody Rhodes again on SmackDown. And like I said a long time ago, I said, listen, you can't fight the bloodline story. Cody has to immerse himself into it. If he fights it, it's going to squash him. Yeah. It's too big. And now we have this storyline is huge. And the bloodline storyline is so intriguing. To me, it feels like a little bit of we've pulled off the gas pedal, but yet I'm still intrigued in it. I don't know. What do you think about it? I feel like it's not as hot as it was, but it's still really hot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely taken a step back since the Sami Zayn thing. uh, had went down at Elimination Chamber. Now it's focusing more towards Cody, and everything's hot again on Monday because that's where Cody Rhodes is. That's where the story really is. That's also where Kevin Owens is. Sammy floats back and forth, but KO and Cody Rhodes are both on Monday Night Raw. So that's where it really happens, I think. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a really good show on Monday. And I don't know if you caught this, but when they showed the Usos backstage walking around, Cody Rhodes could be seen talking to Kevin Owens in the background, trying to convince him to help Sammy.
There's a picture going around.
Yeah, and I think that's wildly important. I think the fact that Cody Rhodes ran to save Sammy after Jay turned his back on him was immense, and I think it adds another layer to the story because now Sami Zayn is involved in the Universal and WWE title picture because Cody Rhodes is involved in Sami Zayn's business. And it's very interesting. And then there's the Kevin Owens factor, who wants to be by himself, but knows he probably can't because it's the fucking bloodline. And he knows better than anybody else because, like he said, I've been doing it for a year by myself. Yes, Kevin, you've been doing it for a year by yourself and been unsuccessful, to Sammy's point. I think you need to not get over, because I don't suggest he gets over this. I suggest he puts his pride aside for a minute, teams up with Sammy one last time, and then at Backlash, we get the final Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
That wouldn't make any sense, though, because if they win the tag titles, why would they face each other at Backlash?
Why not?
Kevin Owens wasn't getting it done 3 years ago when it was just Roman and Jay. When it was just Roman and Jay wasn't getting it done. What? Now you got two more of them.
And, Solo's a lot more imposing than either of the Usos. Oh, also, quick note on Solo Sikoa. It seems like after WrestleMania, he's going to get a big push. They're protecting Solo right now, so he's ready for a push after WrestleMania is what I'm hearing.
Easy. Hey.
I love Solo.
I like Solo too. Yeah, Raw, Monday Night Raw. Let's get into the topic that you wanted to talk about.
You can't see me.
John Cena looked old. Sorry, I had to put that out there before we get into the good stuff. John looked old.
He is old, Teddy.
He looked old. He looks like, I was like, he even looked a little scrunched over. I was like, man, he look old. You're only 45. He's only 45. You know?
Well, we all know that John was the hardest worker in the business for 15 years.
It shows.
Listen, but I think if he gets in a match, I think he's going to be right there. I think let's let the cat out of the bag. It's happening. We're getting John Cena versus Austin Theory for the United States Championship at WrestleMania. We weren't sure if the title was going to be involved. I think it's the right move that the title is involved because, again, I think this is going to put the United States Championship in a light it really, really needs to be in. So I think this is massive. I think it's great for Theory. I think it doesn't really do much for Cena. He's Cena at this point. But to your point, yeah, he looks a little old. He looks a little beat up, but I think he's going to be able to do what he needs to do in this match, and he doesn't really need to go crazy, in my opinion. So, getting back to Austin Theory versus John Cena, it's really putting in the title in the spot it needs to be. That being said, I know we talked about before where maybe Cena wins, and then someone new comes in and wins the title from Cena in an open challenge for one last run at the open challenge. But I thought about this earlier today. Theory could very well win and do the same thing. But at the same time, I wouldn't see Theory necessarily losing the Raw after WrestleMania, especially if he beat John Cena the night before, because that would put... Where would that put someone like a Braun Breaker or maybe a Jay White / Kenny Omega?
Or even a Carmelo Hayes.
Or a Carmelo Hayes. It seems like it's going to be one of those four guys that's coming in after Mania.
I would like to see Carmelo Hayes because, to be honest with you, I think he's more ready than Braun Breaker. is he talks better. He's great.
Well, here's the
Braun,
thing I think about Carmelo Hayes. I'm going to cut you real quick because Carmelo Hayes is a great topic of conversation. He's him. But I think what they want to do, and that's not just me being saying the phrase, that's one of his taglines as well.
I know that's yeah.
He hasn't won the NXT title yet. So I think he's going to beat Breaker at Stand and Deliver. And then Breaker gets the call up. And then Mello gets his shot to run the show at NXT. Because he hasn't had that shot yet. And I think it's something he wants to do. And I think WWE is in favor of making sure you can hold the big one.
That's true. Well, I think, because the rumor has it that they're looking to reform the Hurt Business with Carmelo Hayes.
And possibly the Street Profits.
Carmelo Hayes and the Street Profits.
With the Hurt Business.
Wow. That's a huge faction.
That's something I've seen on Twitter. But instead, I think it would be in place of Cedric and Shelton now. I don't think those two would be included this time. I think the Street Profits would be in place of them.
That Hurt Business right there.
That is the actual
Angelo Dawkins. Carmelo Hayes, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, and Bobby Lashley.
And Omos. Despite how we feel about Omos on this podcast, he's a force to deal with.
It would be interesting to see which way they would lean. Would they be heels? Would they be?
They would have to
baby
be
faces.
They'd have to be heels. There's no way that group works as baby faces. It would be weird to see Montez as a heel, though. I could see Dawkins doing it, but Montez, I don't know.
I think Montez would be a hell of a good heel. He already does kind of heelish stuff, but it just is so cool. He does anti-hero shit.
But yeah, that's besides the point. We were talking about the U.S. title.
Damn, that'd be a hell of a faction. That's a legendary faction right there.
You're not wrong, and it's led by MVP, who
that's what
MVP is a sideshow Hall of Famer, not Rey Mysterio over Batista. You can't do it.
No.
Anyway.
Now let me ask you a question before we move on. Then we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
Did you say you thought Batista should headline over Ray because of me, or did you honestly think that?
No, I honestly think that. I think overall stardom, Batista was bigger than Ray ever was. I think you made a great point, something that I hadn't thought about. Ray's contribution to the business. Because he had been all around. He'd been to Lucha Underground. He did all the stuff in Mexico. He was built up through there. He started his big TV stuff in WCW. And then he came over to WWE. It was even bigger then. He was the first person that wasn't big that Vince really trusted. And yes, he did have the push of Eddie Guerrero, and that's one of those things you can never plan. It just happened. But don't forget, Ray also won another. Okay, well, he won the WWE title for like a few hours, but was it even that long?
It was. He won it at the beginning of the night, and then John beat him at the end of the night.
So he had it for a couple hours. But yeah, I mean, still, Ray was never a guy that needed a title. He was a big tag team champion guy, cruiserweight title a few times, but like, he was always beloved. And I think when they were doing his promo package that you didn't watch, they said his connection with the fans was unbelievable. Because I think he was more relatable than anybody else in WWE history. He's a
household name.
What?
He's a household name.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows who Rey Mysterio is. And, everybody, like, when I was a kid, like, if Rey Mysterio, he did that thing, the 619 thing, right? Where he spun in the ropes and did the kick. I was like, yeah, man, like, that's my boy, Rey Mysterio. And, like, I said it before. You can't tell the story of WWE without mentioning Rey Mysterio. He's one of the all-time greats, but I also feel that way about Batista. because to be where he was for as long as he was, from the minute... Okay, let's look past Leviathan, because that doesn't count. So...
Wait, but Leviathan was their champion.
Yeah.
Leviathan, he was the FCW champion. And what is it? I think Batista came up before John did. Yeah, he did, right? He came up a couple days before John.
Yeah.
And so he lost. He was a big deal in FCW. He was a big deal. He was Leviathan. He had matches with Kane. He had matches with Show. It came down to work with him to groom this guy. And then he lost with Prototype, which was John. And then he went up, and then John was the champion. And then John came up.
OVW.
OVW, yeah. What did I say?
FCW. That's where Roman Reigns and Seth and Big E came from.
Yeah. So Leviathan was a big deal down there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you're right, and for his age too, like, you know, Dave is older than Triple H and The Rock. He's older than Triple H and The Rock, and you're like, when you put that into perspective, like, man, it's amazing. Like, this dude got big when Triple H and The Rock were over, and like, you know, their time was up, and he was older than both of them.
Well, I think that's a great point. To be able to go, the difference between 26 and 36 is a big fucking deal. Like, I'm 28, and I remember when I was 26, I was a lot more limber then. I could move a lot better then, and, like, it's not that much worse now. It's only been 2 years. But, like, there's a little bit of change. I definitely move a little slower now, and in 10 years... I'm going to move a hell of a lot slower. Now, I'm not a guy like Batista who's training every day and keeps in shape and shit like that. But still, like, 10 years is a long time. And to just get into it, and not only get into it, be at the top of it with guys 10 years younger than you and being able to keep up every step with them. And on top of that, turn around and work with guys a little older than you and still take care of them and put on fucking amazing matches.
I mean, let's just look at it. So the two biggest stars are Batista and John Cena. John is 10 years younger than Dave, or he's 9. He's 9. He's 8 or 9. He's 8 to 10 years younger than Dave. That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy to think about.
When do your top two stars be 10 years apart?
Probably never. No, I really can't think of a time. Because everyone else, it's usually two guys around the same age, within 5 years.
John was born in the 70s. Dave was born in the 60s.
Yeah, listen, Dave had seen a lot before John even knew what was going on.
He had seen a lot before John's dad slipped into his mom.
It's interesting to think about, and before we bog down
before we go
into a rabbit hole about literally nothing. But no, I do think Batista would be over Rey Mysterio in a situation like this, especially because of what you said earlier. Batista hasn't been around.
Yeah.
We want to see Batista.
He's also a leading man in Hollywood right now.
We want to see Batista. I mean, we see him on the screen, yeah. But we want to see him back in WWE in some capacity. And seeing him on that mic with that WWE label again, just talking, is going to be awesome.
It makes sense. WrestleMania Hollywood, Dave Batista, the headliner. Like, this dude is like... You know, he's huge in Hollywood right now. And everybody's talking. Like, this is undeniable. People are saying, like, he's the best actor, wrestler turned actor. May not be as big of a star as the other two, but he's the best
actor. Yes, he's the best actor, yes.
He's the best out of all of them. And it's like, you know, and he's got depth. He goes every, like, and people like Dave. They like Dave, you know. So it's crazy to me, but it is what it is. Hey, I said to Zach, I said, hey, I get more free time to go hang out in LA because I don't need to go stand in a 2-hour line to see Dave Batista.
Well, there you go. There's always a positive side to it. But something that just popped in my head, Ray's going to have a big crowd. He's from that area, San Diego. That's, you know, where he's billed from.
Yeah.
619.
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's in LA. He's from California.
Yeah.
But What else happened on Raw?
Not too
John.
terribly much. I mean,
Oh
besides Jay finally coming back and rejoining the bloodline and making Sammy eat his shoe to the teeth.
man, that pop, man, and we'll get to John had a big pop too, but yeah, it really, like I said, yo, I think the mic broke. Either they pumped in crowd noise or the mic broke when Jay hugged Sammy, because you could hear it. It's just like, and then when he kicked Sammy, everybody was just like, oh. Oh, it's just like, what?
It didn't last long, but there was a brief silence where people were like, what? And then they started booing again because they realized what happened. But there was a moment, and you're right, the mic did break. And it happened for Cena too, and that's why I know it happened twice. That crowd was insane. It was definitely sold out, packed to the rafters, and they were going nuts. John, when his music hit, it was loud. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. And then when he stepped out of that curtain and hit the stage, oh my God. I was like, holy shit. This might be one of the biggest pre-planned pops I've heard in a long time. Because you always have the unexpected ones where, like, the ones I think of immediately, you hear the glass shatter out of nowhere. Those are always some of the biggest unexpected pops of all time. And then later that night, one of the biggest unexpected pops of all time, Jay hugs Sammy. Everyone loses their fucking mind. Went absolutely nuts. And the place was electric. And I know we talk about how the crowds are in these shows sometimes because it matters. It matters in how the show feels, on how the crowd reacts, and whether they're into it or have energy or not.
The best crowd I've ever seen is 18, Hogan and Rock. Man, that crowd was wild. That crowd is wild. It's electrifying. It's crazy. Like, you get goose. You just watch that match. You're just like, ugh.
You just triggered me, Teddy.
That's a hell of a crowd.
You mentioned You mentioned the match. You triggered me when you mentioned that match.
In what way? Good way? Bad way?
Remember the conversation we had earlier today? You know what? This is a great topic of conversation because we're honestly pretty much done with Monday Night Raw.
Hold on. We got one more thing, but you want to write it down? We do have something else on Monday Night Raw.
Let's get back to it after this because we're right here on it. Well, shit. Now I forgot what we were talking about. That's bad.
We're here. Think about it. So Edge and Finn, they're gonna meet in the middle of the ring on Monday. Do we think this is gonna be a Hell in a Cell match?
I hope so. It better be the Demon inside Hell in a Cell.
If it's not Hell in a Cell, I'm packing my shit up and I'm giving up on Hunter right now. I'm giving up on Hunter if it's not Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, no, I think they're going to get it done. I think removing the standalone event speaks to that. And it's Edge's last WrestleMania. And I think they're really going to go big for it. We haven't seen the Demon since Extreme Rules, not this past year, but the year before.
I don't know if we're going to get the Demon. We may, but I heard that they don't think it fits into like his current persona with the Judgment Day.
I think a different rendition of the Demon with Judgment Day colors. I think he would have to act a little different, but I could see a Judgment Day Demon. I think that'd be sick. He would have to play it more like Bray Wyatt did in the Pitch Black match, where he like has the darker paint and he's like creepier and stalking a little more, as opposed to like where the Demon likes to be more frantic and attacking. I think it needs to be more cold and calculated, but you know. I think it'd be great. I think Hell in a Cell lends itself to the Demon, and that's why I want it so much. If it was just going to be a singles match, I'd rather see Finn Balor. But if it's Hell in a Cell, I want to see the Demon inside Hell in a Cell.
It needs to be Hell in a Cell. If it's a singles match, I'm taking a bathroom break at this time.
That's 100% worth it. Yeah, I agree. Get some food while you're at it.
And then the last point of all, I'm bored. I'm bored to hell with this Asuka and Bianca Belair thing. Like, if Asuka doesn't start taunting and like being a menace towards Bianca Belair, she needs to start stalking her and creeping her the hell out.
Well,
she needs to start doing something. This is why I never really cared for Asuka, because I just don't like. You get into a serious you get into a serious story with Asuka, and it's just like, all right, well, she can wrestle. That's it.
I don't think this one is her fault. I don't, because I think this character of Asuka should be that. But we're getting Carmella and Chelsea Green randomly shoved down our throat. Why? Why does Asuka win the Elimination Chamber and then Carmella and Chelsea Green insert themselves in matches against Bianca and Asuka? Fucking why? Are we gonna get a fatal four-way? No, Asuka. That's fucking horseshit. This new character can... What you just said! She can be stalking and playing mental warfare with Bianca Belair. The fact
she
that...
Could, but will we see it? Would she do it? We haven't... everybody's like, oh, Asuka this, Asuka that. All right, listen. Maybe she did that 10 years ago in Japan, but she ain't done it since she's been here. She's been, you're not ready for Asuka since she's got here. That's all she's been. And I would love for it. Please, prove me wrong. Shut me up. Tell me that's what we're getting for Asuka. Because other than that, I'm over this shit. Yeah, she's going to have a great match. Cool. I'm going to root for Bianca because I don't give a shit about Asuka right now. I would love to root for Asuka because I think Bianca's held this title for a year. Let's get something new. But if I don't see something new and interesting come out of Asuka other than goddamn blue dye come out of her mouth, I'm over it.
I think if Chelsea Green and Carmella were not involved in this at all, it would be a lot better. Because we're not getting a chance to see Asuka and what this character can be. And she's kind of...
that's why they're here, because they don't have faith in Asuka.
Well, maybe that's true. They don't have faith in Asuka, but she's doing that kind of stuff with Chelsea Green and Carmella right now. She's being weird and creepy with them. Why not do that with Bianca? I don't understand.
Well, she is doing it, but all she's done is she'll just laugh in their face and then just blue stuff comes out of her mouth. Start, stalking her. Start doing weird stuff to her. Start, I don't know, stealing stuff from her and then, lights her out and then, she gets in her car and Asuka's in the back seat. Oh, what the hell? What's going on here? What's going on with Asuka? Be a creepy stalker, Asuka. Be someone we've seen it. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 3 weeks of just Asuka looking creepily laughing as blue stuff comes out of her mouth. All right, we gotta see something new. Other than that, you're just the chick that stands there, kind of like what we're doing with what's her name? What's the girl's name? The crazy girl.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross is just stalking Candice LeRae now. It's just all right, we've seen it. And now you're just staring. You're not even doing anything. You're just weirdly staring.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit going on. But I summation, I hope we get Finn Balor versus Edge inside Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania.
Oh man, I would be in heaven.
You mentioned Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania 18. And I saw an article, and oh God forgive me, I can't give him credit at this moment because I can't remember. If I make a clip out of it, I'll tag him. But anyway, they wrote an article. Will WWE ever make a match as big as Rock versus Hogan at WrestleMania 18? I said, if you had given us Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 38 for the Universal Championship or not, either way, that would have rivaled Rock versus Hogan. Not now. I think that ship has sailed, and I said that when I tweeted it. People choose to ignore some of my words. Fuck them. But I think last year at WrestleMania 38, Rock versus Roman would have been absolutely... You want to talk about sitting there? Sami Zayn and Roman stood there for 5 minutes and didn't touch each other? Rock and Roman could do it for 10. That crowd in Texas would have been standing the entire 25 minutes. It wouldn't have needed to be a long match. It wouldn't have at all because Roman doesn't like to go long, apparently. Sorry, Roman's wife. No, seriously. They could have done that. And there was someone on Twitter, not going to mention him because not worth it. But they said that there's no way it would even remotely rival Hogan versus Rock because it was icon versus icon, blah, 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 this and that and the other. Excuse me, you cannot discount Roman Reigns and not call him an icon at this point. He is the face of the company, and he has taken it to new levels when it went through new lows. Drew McIntyre couldn't do it. So Roman Reigns threw this thing into fucking overdrive, and he is the biggest star since John Cena in his prime. As far as a champion. And they have built him up as the greatest champion of all time. I don't care that they're not clean wins. He's a heel. That's what it's supposed to be. Get over it. Learn the business, you moron. You fucking mark. God, it's so annoying. Give Roman his flowers. He is easily as big as The Rock was at WrestleMania 18. And The Rock now is bigger than Hogan was at WrestleMania 18. This match would arguably be the top 3 biggest WWE match of all time, if not the biggest by itself. I don't understand how someone could sit there in their right mind and say Rock versus Roman last year at 38 would not hold a candle to Hogan versus Rock at WrestleMania 18. That may be one of the most biased boomer takes I've heard in a while.
I said this to you earlier. He's an attitude bearer, baby. You know, they got their nose to the sky. They will, you know, the Attitude Era fucking walks on water. Walks on water, could do no wrong. Could do no wrong. They had, in the Attitude Era, we had things like Goldust being on a dog collar, walking around, looking like a damn fool. You know, nothing's ever going to surpass the Attitude Era in their mind. Me and you sit here proudly and say that we're fans of the Ruthless Aggression Era, and we prefer it. It's just how it's going to be. We were born in 95 and 94.
Yep.
We grew up watching Batista in late 2005 all the way to 2005 and John Cena in 2006. That's our Rock in Austin.
Yeah.
And so we understand. We respect the Attitude Era. You know, unlike the Attitude Era people who don't respect the Ruthless Aggression. And we respect the current era. But there are some people in our group who don't respect the current era.
100%.
You know, they stick their nose up, you know, for the Ruthless Aggression era, like the Attitude Era people do that. It's just how it goes. But let's be real here. One, I agree with you 100%, but I disagree with one point. I think Rock and Roman could go next year and be just as big as it would have been at 38. If the storyline fits it right. So now it's not about just these two wrestling. The storyline has to fit it for it to be right again. I think you get a Rock. You know, I think WrestleMania 40 is a great place to have the match. To be honest, here's why. Roman loses this year. Let's say he loses. He may not. Let's say he loses. Or when he does lose, he's not carrying it far after 1,000 days. Now he goes away for a little bit.
Listen,
and he comes back and he wants to reclaim head of the table. But The Rock is now saying, you are no longer the head of the table. You have run this family's name into the ground. It is now time for me to take back control. Whoa. That's a story right there.
Yeah.
That's a story that I'm going to get right behind. And all of a sudden, this shit's going to be huge. Let's be real here. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are the Rock and Austin of right now. This storyline feels Roman versus Cody feels like Rock and Austin 17 right now. There hasn't been a more anticipated main event heavyweight title match in a long time. Like I'm like, ooh, I cannot wait for this match. And I really don't know who's gonna win.
Nope.
I don't know who's gonna win. There's strong people are expecting the story to continue and Cody to win, but some people are like, yo, no, Roman's gonna make 1,000 days. This is crazy. This match, and I think this is gonna be a crazy match. I think it's gonna be a good match.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good match. This is Rock and Austin again.
I think we're at that level. And, you know, like you said, Attitude Era babies will never give us the light of day of ever hearing that ever. Cody Rhodes will never be more than dashing Cody Rhodes to them, and they're missing out, and I don't know what to tell them. But someone in chat, my boy Ray, made a great point talking about Cody Rhodes, actually, and what they're doing. He asked if I'm worried that they're trying to force us to like Cody, even though we already do, like trying to force feed us Cody Rhodes to get us off of the Sami Zayn train. Oh, that rhymed on accident. I like that. Anyway, I'm not worried about that because I think now they're doing a good job of giving us Sami and giving us what we want with Sami, but still pulling back. Because the crowd's still behind him every time he comes out. We're still very oh yeah. I think they're doing a good job on pulling back on Sami because it does need to be Cody's match. But Cody's still there with Sami. And I think that's the smart thing to do, is tie Sami Zayn into this story as much as possible. And Ray, I mentioned it before you got in here. That's what they're doing. Sami is now involved in this world title picture, but he's not consequentially involved in the fact that he will not win the title or lose the title. But he's still very much involved in this story, which I think is a nice way to give us what we want, but not exactly what we want. And then to go to the point of Cody being brought out with Cena for no reason. That was another passing of the torch to me. We've been seeing that a lot. Undertaker did it with Bray Wyatt. Cena did it for Cody Rhodes. We're at a point right now where we are seeing legitimate passing of torches to superstars. And it's not like it was before where they were babies. It's now you're the seasoned vets. We're gone. It's on you.
Yeah. I don't think we're running into that issue with Cody simply because you said it yourself, whoever said it in the chat. We like Cody. It's not like we're pushing a Roman Reigns that we hate down our throats. It's not like we're forcing, we're not forcing a John Cena that down our throat we did like and now we don't like. That is, there was a point where they were shoving John Cena down our throat that we didn't want him anymore.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
Yeah, and so it's not like, a Dave Bautista who comes back in 2014, even though we want Daniel Bryan and wins the Royal Rumble. It's a different situation. We like Cody. We want Cody to win. Like, you can't take that away. We want Cody to win. And I don't think they're forcing us. I mean, it's just, I said it to people, It's funny that Jimmy and Jay said that Sami's selfish because I say that the Sami Zayn fans are selfish. They want more than he's owed. Sami hasn't held any championship like legitimately that we were like, oh man, he's the champ. Like, no, he's that sneaky. Like we don't expect him to beat anybody. But I think that this story, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens should main event WrestleMania night 1, and that's flowers in itself, and that's a kudos to them, and I think that's well deserved. And that's as far as I'm going to go on that. There's one thing I want to get to ask you. Do you two last questions, and we'll probably wrap it up.
Yeah, we're up against it here.
Do you think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn should main event night 1 of WrestleMania, or do you feel like one of the women's matches should?
Shit, that's a problem, isn't it?
No, it isn't. You know why? And here it is. And this is a hot take, but hey, guys, if it wasn't a women's match, it wouldn't be up for debate.
Fair. Well, I think Rhea and Charlotte could be.
Story's not as big as this Bloodline story.
That's fair.
If they were guys,
that's also fair.
If they were guys, it wouldn't be a conversation. Like the story's bigger, it's going on last. But because it's equality,
a women's match should start the show either night 1 or night 2. Then, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great take. Honestly, yeah. It should be. And probably Bianca and Asuka should probably start the show because,
if you're going to put Bianca over, yes. If Asuka wins, you should bury that match somewhere. If I'm being honest. Because I don't think... Yeah, I think you should bury it in the card. I really do. Because I don't think you want Bianca losing to Asuka the way this has been built to be remembered. I really don't. I don't think they're doing a good job building this.
Well, we got 3 weeks left. Like, Asuka could start doing some weird shit in 3 weeks.
That was kind of my point, but I don't know. I think Charlotte and Rhea is the more impressive story. I'm more invested in that match. I'm actually very invested in that match.
Absolutely.
And
honestly,
they should start the show night 1 or night 2.
I think
night 2, match 1, Charlotte versus
Rhea. I feel like
Rhea.
they should. I feel like they belong higher up on the card. I feel like I know this. So it's funny. At times, the opening match is one of the most important shows, but I don't feel like at WrestleMania it is. I think at WrestleMania it's an important match, but it's not as important as the higher you go up in the card, the more important your match should be at Mania.
Match 2 don't mean shit. The match in the middle is big, right? And then the match in the middle is the big, and the final match is big, and then there's 2 or 3 in the middle there that don't mean shit, and I think that's where Bianca and Asuka fall in.
Undertaker's redefined match number 7. They're match number 7 is match number 7 on a card of 10 is a big deal. It's all right, we got ourselves here because there's 7 and there's 8 and 9, and then there's got the main event. Match numbers, Taker says it. I remember he was he had one day he asked Sean, when we going on? He was 7. He goes.
I think 7's a good slot. You're right. But Sami and KO versus the Usos for the title, I think, will be main event in night 1.
That should be, and I think that'd be a great ending. I think that's gonna be a memorable ending. All right, my next topic.
Kevin Owens main eventing night 1 2 years in a row.
My man.
My man.
Now, there's rumors out there that we're gonna get another Stone Cold match.
I have mixed feelings about it. I'm never gonna be upset that Stone Cold's on the card, but I'm a little upset I didn't get to see his last match.
I don't think they should have a match, but I'm also, like I said, I'm not upset. Hey, all right, you're not gonna pull my arm.
You mean we get a showdown between what and yeah? Are you kidding me?
That's what I'm saying. And if Stone Cold's in great shape, hell yeah! I would love to.
Have you seen the videos of him lately in the gym? Yeah. He looks ripped, man. Stone Cold's in good shape.
I would love to see him in LA Knight. But that's the thing. I don't think they're gonna do it because we only got 3 weeks out. There's no way. There's no way that we're gonna. Stone Cold doesn't get a 3-week build.
No.
Stone Cold doesn't get a 3-week build. He gets a big build. Stone Cold doesn't. Even though 3 weeks build between him and LA Knight would feel like a month. And you'd be like, yeah, I need more.
Oh, we could never get enough of that.
I just, and that's why I think we're going to get a segment between these two. And I love this.
Listen, I think, like I said, I want to see Stone Cold at every WrestleMania until he fucking dies. I don't care if he wrestles ever again.
I love to see LA Knight in the middle of the ring talking his shit, going, what? Yeah, shut up. I'm talking.
And then all of a sudden the glass shatters. Oh, that's what it needs to be now. We don't need to see Stone Cold wrestle. We need to see someone run their mouth, the glass shatters, he comes in on his quad, stunners, beers, see you later. That's all we need.
Imagine Austin and The Rock are both there. The Rock opens the shows. Austin's there and Cena. You missed out.
They'll be there at 40. It's 40. Come on.
I don't know. I missed out. Just to put it over the moon if Dave was there. But whatever. Yeah, that's all we got tonight, guys.
Honestly, a great show. We're going to go again tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we got some March Madness we got to get through. We want to do a bracket of the best entrances and songs, right?
Yeah.
The best entrances and the best songs of all time. So we're going to have 2 separate brackets. We're going to decide how many we got to do for each so far because, we haven't talked that deep about it. But we are going to get into a March Madness. We're going to set up a bracket. It's going to be posted on my Instagram, on Teddy's Instagram, so you guys can vote on our stories. I'm going to put it on Twitter every day so it can be voted on Twitter. anywhere you can put a poll, I'm going to put it up so it can be voted on, so we can have the best pool of results and find out what you guys think are the best entrants and the best song ever in WWE history. So tomorrow it's going to be really fun. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. We're going to be figuring out seeds. And that's where the discussion is going to come, because everybody knows what the best of the best are about, but where are we going to put them? What's the 1 seed? What's the lowest seed? I don't know. It's going to be fun. I can't wait to get into it tomorrow. Thank you guys for hanging out. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All that good stuff. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit that follow button. We love you guys so much. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.
Peace.